Minister Justin Trudeau and the country's premiers say they have agreed to reduce barriers to internal trade and labor mobility across the country. They say certified professionals with credentials in one jurisdiction should be able to work anywhere in Canada. Internal trade ministers and labor market ministers in each province have been directed to come up with a plan for countrywide credential recognition by June the 1st. Joining us now to tell us more on what this could mean for Manitoba businesses is Bram Strain from the Business Council of Manitoba. Good morning, Bram.
Hey, good morning. Well, thank you for having me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Now tell us a little bit more what the Business Council of Manitoba is and what you do exactly.
Yeah, so Business Council of Manitoba represents 110 of the most impactful business in the province. Some of the largest. We represent about 70% of the GDP for the province. So it's if you think of small business as the backbone, Business Council members are the major arteries and organs of business.
Okay, and so they deal in all kinds of different sectors.
You bet. So we have anything from professional sports to manufacturing to agriculture to film and television.
Okay, so these tariffs, obviously it's been threatened for a month. They're here now. What are you hearing from your members?
So it is varied. If you're in the manufacturing or agricultural sectors, there's a high impact. Others are bracing to see what that means, whether you're in the financial sector, et cetera, bracing to see what the overall impact is on the economy, economic slowdown, et cetera. But for manufacturers and agricultural producers, those who move their product out, and U.S. is our #1 customer, there's a massive potential impact. And it's not just the tariffs going into the States, it's now the reciprocal tariffs, because so much of what they use to manufacture also comes from the States, so they can stack upon each other.
Right, and we've heard that maybe businesses should consider new trade partners.
Absolutely.
Is it easy to do that, or is it going to take a long time?
It takes a while. You have certain supply chains, you have certain customers, you have people that are used to your brand. For instance, you have brand recognition in certain markets, so it's not just as easy to turn the tap and say, okay, we'll move to Asia or Europe. Even though some companies are in there, if they're already in those markets, it's a little easier to expand and try to grow. But you're talking about moving total supply chains, moving how you move your product to Tidewater to get to those other countries, et cetera. And let's face it, having road connection, rail connection makes it very easy to move those goods. So it can be done. It will take some time.
Okay, so this is something they're obviously in the works and discussing as well.
100%.
So what are you telling businesses at this point to sort of assuage some of their fears?
Yeah, well, right now it's not so much what we're telling them, it's what we're getting from them, and then working collectively with levels of government to ensure supports are there. Unlike COVID, where COVID hit everybody across the world, kind of everybody was reacting simultaneously. This is very different. These tariffs hit certain sectors differently than others, and we're still not 100% sure of their impact. You know, we know they're on now, but there's an exemption for the automakers yesterday. We know there's still diplomacy going on, so it's very fluid. So feeding in what businesses need now to stay liquid, to keep people working, that's what we're really working on.
And these interprovincial trade barriers that were discussed by the premiers as well as the Prime Minister yesterday, how easy is it for businesses to rejig that sort of plan? Yeah,
well, those interprovincial trade barriers are great. That's something that I think all business associations have been, and businesses have been advocating for decades.
Yeah.
They literally make no sense. So it is some low-hanging fruit. That said, it's not a one-for-one. So the businesses impacted by tariffs may not necessarily be the ones that benefit from the removal of interprovincial trade barriers. Access to markets, especially for alcohol, very important. Some of the standards that we use, say for trucking, et cetera, harmonizing is a great idea. But perhaps the biggest win for everybody is labor mobility. So one set of standards, one set of credentials, which allow companies in each jurisdiction to operate in others. So whether that's construction, those types of things, it really allows for labor mobility. So that's where a lot of the GDP will kick in, will come from.
So the tariffs hurt, but there are some positive things happening from it in the outcome, which is maybe a positive.
Absolutely. It's the old adage of never waste a good crisis. And the other thing that tariffs have done is they've given us a common goal. I was going to say enemy, but you know, the U.S. people are not our enemy. This is one specific person doing these things.
Right.
So it's really brought focus to business and government.
Bram, thank you for your time today.